Hvala lepa. So, I think I will shrink considerably my presentation because we are very close to lunch. I think people are getting quite hungry. I hope not angry. And so I will just, instead of the length that was foreseen, I would just focus on few key concepts. I think my presentation is about, I put myself into the shoes of you, the people listening to this conference, and I asked myself, what can be done about business angels investing in Serbia nowadays? I think the most important message out of today's conference is that private investment into young companies is a key topic and should be not put outside the agenda of structural reforms. In many countries, including Italy, I think, Slovenia too, I must say, we are still affected to some extent by a kind of a bureaucratic capitalism. And when it comes to the big decisions, government focuses only in large companies and trade unions. I think what they don't understand is that small investing into young companies is key for the future. It's not something that must be considered by the side. It should become a core element of the political agenda. And let's go quick. Well, you see, Serbia and Italy maybe share something, that we are not on top of the innovation of the European Innovation Scoreboard. And exactly starting from this statistics, which is a European statistics, a group of people in Italy grouped together and give way to the Italian Angels for Growth Association. So a group of business angels. So it was founded out of the fact that we saw that there was a need for an alternative to government financing and an alternative to venture capital financing or private equity financing. So in Italy, private equity is very well developed, venture capital less so, but business angels was not very well developed. It was essentially a government play. I think it's important to stress that today's president of the European Bank, Mr. Mario Draghi, who was president of the Bank of Italy, stressed the importance of economic growth, which cannot be achieved without involving the young people and young companies, because they are really key for the creation of wealth, jobs, and a better quality of life. I recommend all of you maybe to go to the website of the Kaufman Foundation in the United States. They are preparing currently the reforms. They are proposing important reforms to the government of the United States to accelerate the growth, the creation and growth of young companies. So Kaufman is also a website where you can find a lot of material about managing business angel groups. So public policies, in Italy at least, a lot of emphasis was put in research, and a lot of public money went into research and goes into research, maybe less. And so the public agenda was thought to be satisfied if universities were getting some money and if some research centers were getting some money. So the idea was that, okay, if we found the research, we will immediately or automatically get wealth out of it. It's true, it is a necessary condition, but it is not a sufficient condition. When an innovation is brought to the market, a complex set of know-how, skills and competencies has to be arranged, including, first of all, the value for users, and then fine-tuning the product service, fine-tuning the process, and fine-tuning the business model. All these things are present only at a raw, when a company is within a startup. All these know-how and competencies rarely are present. And so I think it is the role of the business angels to inject know-how, to help inject know-how into these companies in order for them to flourish. It's not only about money, it is a proactive role that business angels play. Again, when we speak about young companies, while in the past we were talking about the research and the product development process, today, more appropriately, we speak about the customer development processes. There is, at the startup phase, a very interactive phase where company discovers some customers, but needs to validate the products, the business model, the service with these customers. And then only the company can start growing and then become a large company, as we all hope. I think that also when exploring the applicability of the business angel model to Serbia, it's important to to start and just do it. I think there is enough competence around, there are enough tools around to be taken into account. Again, today it was stressed by many parties, by many speakers, that there is a need to have a role for government funding at some stage. Especially when the company is young, it's important to have available some funds for the early stage venturing. And I think here a good example is the so-called, is the French Crédit Risque approach, where loans are provided to companies on a risk basis, so that if the project is successful, the entrepreneur will pay back the loan. If the project is not successful, so the money is lost. But I can tell you that all entrepreneurs in France are eager to pay the loan because they know that their next loan is earmarked to the successful payment of the previous loan. And then there is a business angel role, so taking equity stakes into companies by people who have a business expertise and can really help the company get into new markets, learn new competencies. Okay, just back again. Okay. What do business angels do? We are involved into promoting an entrepreneurial culture and skills. We are involved in selecting the initiatives that have a high growth potential. We add value, not just by reading the business plan, but finding out additional team members, especially lead customers. I think it's key to insist on the point that companies, to be financed by business angels, hopefully must have a customer in their hands. And the presence of lead customers is a key aspect. And then there is the negotiation stage and coaching for growth and exit. A very important approach is the sidecar fund. So the European Commission makes available funding to co-invest with business angels and with private investors. A very successful experience in this case in Italy is the one brought about by Meta Group or Zernike Meta Ventures. It's a joint venture between the Zernike, a Dutch investment management company, and the Meta Group, which is an Italian investment management company. And they have proven that by adding some sidecar funds, that is, funds that are co-investing automatically, let's say, when private investors decide to invest, is a very profitable way to proceed. Altogether, Zernike Meta Ventures in Italy has assets under management of about 80 million euros, and a new fund has just been established in Slovenia with a 10 million venture. It's a 10 million venture fund. One of the key shareholders is Iskratel, which is a well-known telecom company, which is innovatively reviewing, reassessing its business model and implementing in practice the approach of open innovation. I will be glad to tell privately more about it. Okay, so next, and we are at the end of it, more or less. So finally, what is important is to bring in some advisory skills. When companies have been successfully invested by business angels, it's important to exit. And the most typical way out is through a trade sale by selling the shares to a larger company. And here, I think the advisory skills come into their own, and it is important to properly put the cosmetics in place and stress the points of strength that the company possesses in order to make it attractive to the investors. So I think that I will close here my presentation. You get a glimpse of the topics that I will be very glad to discuss to you on a one-to-one basis. What is important is that there is vision, and I'm sure that in this room and the organizers of this conference have a clear vision where they want to go. They have the skills, and there is a strong climate of trust. These are the milestones, the keystones upon which we can build and start in Serbia to a virtuous cycle of success cases that can really change the culture and give a strong impulse to the economy. Thank you.